None of the ideas shown in these videos are patented. If you wish to use them, I have no legal way of stopping you. However, I do believe they would benefit me more than it would hurt me. Episode 3 of my series of fancy sci-fi ideas is really simple. As you can see by how I look and how my shitty apartment is shitty, I'm obviously not an upper class person, and I know many people who make extra money collecting the scrap metal off the street and bringing it to the scrapyard. It's like, I don't know, they fill a trailer full of scrap metal and it's like $80. I think it's like $80 for a 1-ton container full of scrap metal. Mostly Polish people, but also some German people who want to get a little money on the side, collecting scrap metal, bringing it to the scrapyard, and I think it's like $80 for a ton of scrap metal. And in recent years there's been like this whole idea of how to get rid of space junk, and it's all about deorbiting it and burning it up in the atmosphere. You know how many freaking billions it has cost to get all that stuff up there? Think about it. All that stuff is from space missions that have cost millions of dollars each, and if you take all that space junk together, it's like thousands of missions that have gone up there to create that space junk, and 1,000 times million makes billions. You spend billions to get all that shit up there, and you just want to burn it up? How insane is that? How insane are these people? And the European Space Agency and NASA and even Elon Musk, how insane are you people just wanting to burn that stuff? No, obviously what you need is a scrapyard in lower Earth orbit. That's what you need, a scrapyard. So what you need is a space station up there, and all your methods that you had so far for getting rid of space junk, like harpoons and what was that other stuff, like nets and all that stuff, use that to get that space junk to that scrapyard and collect it there. You spent millions shooting all that stuff up there. Just don't burn it. How stupid is that? I can't believe that official agencies would be so stupid. No, build a scrapyard space station up there, and all your methods that you thought of to capture it, use them to get them to that scrapyard, and obviously have something on that space station to capture it all, like a giant space baseball mitten to capture that stuff. And have a space scrapyard. And you could argue, yeah, like that's really burned and irradiated stuff. That's not really useful, but it is. And here is the point where it is useful. If you want to go out, like if you're like a big fan of The Expanse on Amazon, or if you're just a big fan of making lots of trillions of money and you want to go space mining, obviously the stuff you are space mining has to go to low Earth orbit, and from low Earth orbit it has to go to Earth. How do you want to get stuff from low Earth orbit to Earth without completely burning up? by building a vehicle that can go down with parachutes and land safely. This is what you use the space junk from the space scrapyard for. Let me do one of my drawings from the, like I do in the previous episodes, like you have your shit. Oh no, I said a bad word. You have your shit. And down here, that's our planet. That's where we live. I probably live around here. Probably around here. You wanted to go down there without burning up. So you need to put it into something. A container. Here's the container. You want that container to, I guess, flame a little bit, and then here's the flames, and then it deploys parachutes. It looks ridiculous. I'm so bad at drawing. Yeah, but then it deploys parachutes. But under the current idea, you would like shoot up that container for millions of dollars to get that stuff down, and shoot up the parachutes to get it down there. How useless! No, instead, you build a scrapyard in space with that giant baseball mitten that captures all that space junk. This is the space junk. Captures it and uses like some kind of robot to convert it into a container with a parachute. That's simple enough. Yeah, it should be simple enough. So instead of deorbiting all that stuff that we shot up for billions of dollars, we do that, we capture it all. What we use it for is containers for all these resources, rare earth minerals and iron and whatever, that we got on asteroids and the moon. Build containers for them that can survive going through the atmosphere, and build parachutes for them. I'm sure we can do that from space junk. If we cannot, we can always grow hemp in space. It would have several useful purposes. We can always grow hemp in space. Not just for the benefit of happy astronauts. And use space junk containers to get all the resources down to our planet. And amplify our economy. Again, simple concept. I don't know why anybody hasn't proposed it before, but this is the way it needs to be done. We need to capture the space junk, make containers from it to release our space resources onto our planet and get filthy rich as a civilization. Simple.